loud.
And 10.
Good morning, Alliance of Delray. I'm Lori Vinacore, Executive Vice President. And today we have a primer from our property appraiser going to be explaining things about the trim notices. Supervisor of Elections link should be coming on here because we have a primary on August 18th and she can be answering questions. So if you all have any questions at all, please, there's a Q&A. Put it into the Q&A section if you can. We also have the explaining the court system, our two circuit court judges and the county judges, the system. We're going to have that explained by a couple of sitting judges today. Remember the Q&A. And just one thing about business, remembering the zoning application that we discussed a couple of weeks ago. We've had about 3,000 views of that meeting. It's really important. Thank you all. Thank everybody, all of our Alliance members, all of our community leaders for all their comments that they submitted. They've all been submitted to the commissioners, the comments, and we will be testifying tomorrow at the zoning meeting. We are strenuously opposing this project, and we will bring all of that information up to the commissioners to let them know how much this does not work. This type 1 fast food restaurant with 2 drive-throughs at the corner of Legends Way and Atlantic, that doesn't work for us. So we're going to let them know. Now we will begin our meeting, and what we usually do is we start with our first responders, and today we have Sheriff Bradshaw, and we're going to spotlight Sheriff Bradshaw for his update. Hello, Sheriff. Thank you so much for coming.
My pleasure. You know, with everything else that's going on, so we had a storm, a little scare there. We were fortunate it skirted the coast, but what it did is it gave us a good idea of, you know, what's transpiring if we have one of these during this COVID crisis that we're in, to make sure that, you know, we've got everything covered. And let me just talk a couple minutes about some of the dynamics here when we have a storm coming, and pretty much we're probably going to get another one before the season's over. Hopefully not, but the way things look, you know, it could be happening. Please, I urge everybody to do the preparation ahead of time. You know, it's bad enough under normal circumstances where everybody waits till the last minute and they start running to the stores for water and canned goods and gas and everything. But now, because we've got to do the social distancing and the masks and everything, having crowds in these places is not going to happen. So, you know, I urge people to go get the water, go get the canned goods. It's not going to go bad. You know, it'll last 2 or 3 or 4 months, sometimes a year. But stock up on it now, stick it into another room so we don't have large crowds trying to get into the stores, traffic on the roads, people trying to get gas. I mean, the gas might, you know, be a last minute thing, but let's get it done ahead of time so we don't have a large gathering at the stores trying to get in. You know, the shelters are going to be an issue a little bit. People are going to have to think seriously about what the category of the storm is and can they ride it out at home. We'll open up a lot more places. The school system's working good with us, but you got to realize a lot of screening going on. If you got a temperature, you're not going to go in the general population. You're going to have your own supplies with you. We're going to try to make sure that the distancing in there is the best we can make it. But you need to think seriously about, do you have to go to a shelter, or can you do this appropriately at your own house? That's a personal decision. And it's something you got to think about and prepare in your house. So think about these things ahead of time. You know, the COVID thing is still going strong. Everybody's got to pay attention to what's going on here. The main thing we're looking for is these large gatherings. I mean, you know, we just got to put a stop to them. And it's mostly been the younger people. So we're paying a lot of attention to that and making sure people are wearing these masks where they're supposed to. You know, we talk about Homeland Security. It's more of an issue than it is on a regular basis. Not only these are bad people trying to get in here, but we stopped a boat with about 11 people trying to sneak into the country, and guess what? All 11 of them tested positive. So not only do you have the threat of these are bad people trying to sneak in here, these are sick people also, that if we let them get in across our border here, which is the ocean, you know, they're going to come in here, and if they get into the communities, they're going to spread the infection also. So our Homeland Security effort is really, we're ramping up to make sure that we got our coastline protected. So the men and women out here, the deputies, they're busy. You know, they got the normal calls for service, and they're enforcing the COVID thing, and of course when the storms come. So I got to give them all the credit in the world. They leave their families, you know, especially in times of big trouble, to come out here to make sure that our neighborhoods are safe and everything. So the message I send to the public is this: please help us out. Do your part to do what you need to do ahead of time. Remember that we're out here for you, and regardless of what the circumstances is, you can count on the sheriff's office and the deputies in your neighborhood. They'll be there to protect you. So thanks for giving me a couple minutes this morning. I want to just give a real good shout out to the judges. You know, they've worked fantastic with us, trying to keep the courts open, the courthouse. You know, we've made that as safe as we can with the temperature monitoring system, but the judges have been great to work with, and making sure that the judicial system keeps on going. So we're doing the best to keep that system going too. So thanks, judges. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Sheriff.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Sheriff Bradshaw. You really are on top of everything, and you give us such sense of security. Thank you so much. And speaking of more security, we've got our first responders here too. We have Captain Sandt first. We will have you give an update, a local update. So I spotlighted Captain Sandt.
All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. I want to start off this morning with thanking Chief Tozzi. Chief Tozzi and his crew from Fire Rescue. For those of you that don't know, we had a very volatile situation occur at Kings Point. Came to a very peaceful resolution, but I want to publicly thank Chief Tozzi and his crew for being there with us the whole time. He was right by my side at the command post. The continuity of command, the communication was flowing with the operational commanders and our SWAT leaders, and I'm very grateful for that partnership. I also want to thank the sheriff for providing us with an enormous amount of tools, and better yet, options in dealing with such a potentially deadly situation. But because of all those options and all those tools, we were able to strategically deploy exactly what we needed to get it to come to the conclusion of what we wanted. And thank you guys very much. All right, thank you also for the Kings Point community as well, for bearing with us through pretty much a whole prolonged day of inconvenience, if you may, to the community members. They deserve a large part of the credit as well for working with us too. All right, let me touch on crime real quick. Overall crime, we're down throughout the district. I don't want to jinx ourselves, so I'll knock on wood, but please remain vigilant. We're starting to see a crew coming up from Dade and Broward counties, and they are stealing cars, high-end cars. We know they're coming from Broward because a lot of the vehicles have tracking systems in it. Tracking systems are leading us into Hollandale and Lauderhill and all the Broward areas. So our task force is working real hard as well to see if we can track them down, working with the local authorities down there as well. Please continue to lock your car doors. We're seeing a lot of these cars. The common denominator here is people leaving their car doors open. And not only are they leaving the car doors open, they're leaving their spare keys in the car. Worse off is a lot of these spare keys have their key to their home where their children are. So I implore that you please spread the message. You've heard me say it before, and I'm going to unfortunately have to say it again. Please continue to have this conversation, okay? I'm going to echo something the sheriff says. Yes, the deputies, we are very busy. Credit goes to those men and women out there on the street. And I will tell you this, again, it goes to credit to the community, because I'm going to share something with you. Quarterly, we're down 54% on car crashes. That means a lot to us. Not only that many less people are getting injured out there, but it's also freeing the deputies up a lot of time, and you're not using as much resources, having to deal with the crashes, the redirecting traffic, and so forth. Therefore, we can take the deputies and put them in the communities. We can put them in the plazas. We can readjust. We can deploy them strategically where they need to be, rather than having to work a car crash that most times could have been avoided. All right, so please continue to leave yourself plenty of time. The numbers don't lie. You're demonstrating that you are, and thank you very much for using that due care out there. One last thing I have is for an update. Again, I want to thank our sheriff for all the support that he's provided to us getting this done. And I know you guys have remember me mentioning our CMV units, where South Regional Motor Units play a dual role. Not only providing the community with the overwatch for vehicular and what we need them for on the motorcycles, high-profile motorcycle patrols. But we have 2 volunteers, as I've mentioned earlier, throughout the year that have now, good news is they are completely, fully certified. They've completed all the state-mandated requirement courses. So those trucks you see out there, those big trucks, you've seen the segments we put out on the news and on TV, those big trucks, to the point of your concerns with the McDonald's and the traffic and the construction in the area, those big trucks will now be able to really truly enforce through education. Okay, we put it out there. Through education, we're really going to be able to enforce and hopefully minimize the impact of those big trucks coming through our area. So that's really good news. I'm very proud of the deputies. And again, I want to say thank you to the sheriff. He's providing us with all the tools, everything we need to get this job done. All right.
Thank you so much. It's great. It's great having you. Thank you so much. And you're really working overtime there. Overtime. Terrific. Thank you. We're going to go to Chief Tozzi now, and we will spotlight Chief Tozzi from our fire rescue. Hello, Chief. And you
unmute yourself.
Unmute yourself. Great.
Right. Good morning, everybody. Hope everybody fared the storm well. I'm happy to say that we had not only our department command team in place and fully activated, but we had your Battalion 4 command team in place. It was a great opportunity to mentor some of our newer folks, and I'm happy to report they did exceptional. I was very pleased with the performance. I'd like to echo some of the things Captain Sandt had said. You know, when we show up on these significant events, and he's being humble, the one that they responded to was very significant, we go to what they call unified command. And basically that means, hey, the fire department and the sheriff's office and any other governmental agencies or local agencies are together, working together. Well, in the past, we'd roll up on a scene, and if the sheriff's office was there, and I'm going back 15 or 20 years, maybe longer, if the sheriff's office was there and the fire department rolled up and we saw them, hey, we were at unified command. And if we needed something, we would kind of, walk across the street and try and, catch a moment of their time. That's not the way it is anymore. And it's not that way because of the relationships that we've worked on, and it's also based on trust. Let me tell you, for them to invite me into that command post, it's a big trust factor, and that means a great deal to me. And I want to thank Captain Knapp and the sheriff for allowing us to have that trust in those relationships. We're all better for it. With that said, the event, I mean, again, they're so humble. They mitigated this dangerous event with precision. And it was just, it was amazing to see. I've been doing this 36 years, and it's on my top 10 list of events I got to experience. And it's because of, just being able to watch them and see them in action. So thank you for that relationship and that trust that you share with us. The calls with regard to the recent storm that we've had, it was pretty low on call volume. We did have Park Vista Shelter up with the census hovering around 50 people. The pet friendly shelter was also up there. I was told there was about 4 dogs, and probably 4 of them were the people that were working there. So we didn't have a lot of pet friendly folks in that shelter, but we were open and ready. And again, as the sheriff had alluded to, it was a great chance for us to see how the spatial distancing and the whole mask and COVID scenario put into place. Sometimes things happen for a reason, and we took good advantage of all of it. We really did. The call volume here in the 4th Battalion has been extremely high. Our folks over at Station 45 in Kings Point, again, are leading the way. They had just under 600 calls, 599 calls for the month. That's going to put them over 7,000 calls a year, which has been unprecedented. We haven't seen that. So a lot of thanks to the guys and gals that are out there running those calls every day and keeping all of us safe. It's great to join you again this month. I'm sorry I missed you last month. All's good on our end, and look forward to joining you again next month.
Thank you so much, Chief Tozzi. And we have a little shout out here to Senator Berman and our Commissioner Mary Lou Berger. They are both on as attendees here watching. And if either one of you would like to speak, you could just send me a little message and we can put you on. But it's great to have you here. Thank you so much. Let's see. Oh, there it is. A nice message from Lori Berman. She says, "Good morning, Delray Alliance, and keep safe." That's very nice. Thank you so much. We have now property going into our speakers here. We actually don't have a Supervisor of Elections link online here yet. This is an important time. I'm sure she's working. Oh, she raised her hand, which means she's there, and my co-host will need to find her and put her on as a panelist. Okay, because she came on as attendee. So if you could do that, Paul, thank you. While we have Property Appraiser Jax present some information all about upcoming things we're going to be getting in the mail here. Spotlighting the video. There's Dorothy.
Hi, Lori. Yes. Thank you. Thank you so much. It's great to be with you. It's great to be back in the office. Many of you know that I did have COVID, and I'm now tested negative twice. And so I'm thrilled about that. I feel really good, a little tired, but they say that's normal. So, but I'm grateful to have had a milder case and have come through this just fine. And so thanks to you and to so many people who've reached out to send greetings and best wishes. I appreciate it. And hello to Bob too, who I'm sure is on the call. I wanted to just quickly tell you about the proposed tax notice mailing, which, you know, even during COVID, we got to talk about taxes. So we're mailing them August 20th this year. So 700,000 notices will go out August 20th from my office. It's a lot of good information, most importantly about the value of your property that we've set for this year. And I even brought, I have some visuals to show you. See, I've got my notice here to show you. I thought I would just share with you a little bit about the notice itself. So it's two-sided, and the front side is the taxing authorities. I'll talk a minute about that. But the back side is where the values are. So in the yellow box, the actual market value of your property, and then which is the value which, if you feel it's too high, you can file a petition with the Value Adjustment Board. That's the time of year we do this right now. And then below that, the exemptions that you've qualified for and any benefits that you get, such as the portability benefit if you've moved, or the Save Our Homes cap. Any of those will be listed on that side, on what we call the blue side. And then on the other side, which is the columned side, you have all the taxing authorities that you pay. So each of these is individualized to you, and it's all the taxing authorities you pay, and it shows you what you paid last year, what you would pay this year if they hadn't raised the millage rates, and then what the proposed millage rate and taxes are going to be in the green column. So that's the important column on the left. I want to point out the date, time, and place of public hearing. So each taxing authority is required to have 2 public budget hearings where you can go and express your concern about the rate and ask questions about what the money is going to be used for next year, talk about new projects that the city is contemplating, and really learn a little bit more about how your tax dollars are spent each year. it tells you this year it's going to be a little different because of COVID. Some of the taxing authorities are going to have virtual budget meetings, which, you know, I'm starting to realize that there is a lot of benefits to virtual because so many more people can attend. You know, you don't have to get in your car. You don't have to drive if the weather is bad. I mean, then the summer it's pouring rain. You don't have to go. All these meetings are in the evening by law. They have to be after working hours. So you don't have to go out in the evening. You can do it from your home if it's a virtual meeting. So I hope you'll consider participating in those hearings. You learn so much about how the operation of the spending of your money happens as opposed to the collecting of your money, which, although that's interesting, it's not as interesting as what they're going to do with the money. So do think about that. Again, mailing August 20th, so look out for the notice. Remember, it's not a bill. You don't get your tax bill till November. November is when Ann Gannon, my friend and counterpart, the tax collector, mails the bills, and that's when you actually pay them. But this is just a notice so you get an idea of what they are. And you have an opportunity, if there's anything wrong with it, to let us know so that we can get it corrected for you. So, again, August 20th, I do want to just give a shout out to my own Mike Pratt, who's on the phone. I know he misses being with you all in person. And of course, Howie Zimmerman, who most of you know, who normally would sit in the back of your room. He's working hard at our South County office. He's a great guy. And I know our office is more than happy to help you virtually as well. We have really transitioned so much of our business to phone and email. So if you have any questions for us, email us anytime and ask us your question, or give us a call on the phone. Obviously, we'll be happy to help you that way. You don't need to come in for 99% of what we do. We can mail you the information, have you mail it back to us. You know, we're totally happy to help. So thank you very much. It's great to be with you. Lori, thank you for the time today. I just wanted to make sure people knew about the notice and know that we're here to help if you need anything. So thanks a lot.
Thank you. Now, just two questions here. If you, your email address, you can state that, please.
Yes, sure. It's PBCPAO at Palm Beach at pbcgov.com. Okay, so you know what I can do, Lori, is let me send it to you, and then if you want to put it up on your chat, that way you have it exactly. I know there's a lot of P's in there.
If you could put that in, yeah, you have the ability right there to put it into the chat right now, along with your phone number.
Will do. Absolutely.
That would be terrific. Thank you, and then we'll let everybody know that. Terrific.
Thank you. And yeah, and also on the note, I'll just point out there'll be an insert in the notice, looks like this, and it has a lot of great stuff on it, and also all our phone numbers and individual emails and so forth. So that'll be there too. But I'll get it to you now, Lori. As soon as I'm done speaking, I'll get it up for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And if you could hold on for a few minutes, because we do have a Q&A. If people have questions, sometimes they don't get to it right away. It might be into the next speaker. So if both you and Supervisor Link can hold on for a few minutes after we have Q&A. And then if we don't get to all the questions, then we'll send emails to the people, because we do have their contact information, the attendees. Thank you very much. And speaking of Ann Gannon, she will be at our meeting next month explaining things about her office and updates. Thank you very much. We're going on to the Supervisor of Elections. Thank you so much for coming. It's a busy, busy time for you, and you're taking the time. Yeah, so please go ahead and give us an update.
Sure. Thanks so much for having me here. Glad to answer any questions that come up. Of course, we have early voting going on. It started this week. So starting Monday at 10 a.m., we opened up our early voting sites, and happy to report that those all opened up smoothly and things are going very well. We have no lines. We had, I think when one of them opened up, we had 8 people ready to vote. And since then, we really haven't had much of a line. So there's very easy. It's a very quick and safe way for people to get in and vote. You can go to any one of our 18 early voting sites. We have more early voting sites now than we've ever had in Palm Beach County. Our newest ones are East Delray at the Delray Beach Community Center, and also the Green Acres Community Center. And that's to help offset some of, how busy those stations down there were. Don't forget also at early voting, you can not only go there to early vote, and you can go, by the way, to any early voting site that you want. And when you're deciding it, to help you choose which one you want to go to, you can go onto our website at pbcelections.org, and there'll be a link there for you to look at the wait times. So like say for August, we don't really anticipate that there's going to be much of a wait, but just something good to know as we get into November, that you can check the website to see what the wait times are at every early voting site before you go. Then when you get there, you can either choose to go in and vote, or without standing in any line, we have a separate drop box that's outside. So you can just run in and drop off your vote by mail ballot if you'd like to. So we have had record numbers of vote by mail ballots returned. We've sent out over 340,000 already, and we've received back over 103,000. I think it was actually 108,000 now. So we've already received back 108,000, and we still have almost 2 weeks to go. So very happy with those returns. But if you haven't yet requested your vote by mail ballot, you can do so up until August 8th, which is Saturday at 5 p.m. So to make things easy for everybody, if you need to call us, you want to drop by, you want to get on the website, we're going to have all 4 of our offices open for regular business hours, 8:30 to 5, this Saturday. So anything that anybody needs to get done, you can go to our office Saturday, 8:30 to 5, including getting your vote by mail ballot request form in. Or feel free to call us as well. The postage is prepaid, as just a reminder to everybody, so it's nice and easy to do. And for those that always ask, well, do you actually count those? I hear they don't count vote by mail unless it's close. Absolutely not. Every vote is counted, and we actually count the vote by mail first. So when we release those first tally results before 7:30 on election night, those are going to include early voting results as well as all of the vote by mail absolutely completely through Monday night before the election, and then whatever we've had the chance to tally already that was received even on Tuesday. And then as the things that are received in our office as late as 7 o'clock on Tuesday, of course, those will be processed throughout the night and reported as we continue reporting our results. But every vote by mail is counted, and they're counted, most of them first. Do want to make sure everybody knows, everybody's heard some challenges with the post office. So if you are going to do a vote by mail, please make sure you drop it in the mail as soon as you can. We want to make sure that you're giving yourself plenty of time for it to be received, and you can track it. So you can go onto our website, again, pbcelections.org, go to the My Status button. On the My Status button, all you're going to take you very quickly to get in, you just put your name and your birth date, and it's going to bring you to your page. It will tell you what date we sent you your vote by mail, what day we received it back. It'll tell you if it's going through processing, if there's a problem with it, if we had a signature, either you forgot to sign it, or if you had a signature difference, it's going to show that right on the website. And then just so you know, because people say, well, why doesn't it show it was counted? Well, it's because officially nothing is counted until after 7 o'clock on election night. So don't be concerned because it doesn't show counted. As long as it shows that we've received it and it's processed, and it does not give you an alert telling you that there's a problem with yours, then you can feel good about that. And then after 7 o'clock p.m. on election night, it will show as counted. So that's the way that works. So we want to just make sure people are checking that. If you feel like, gosh, I sent that in and it should have gotten there by now, or I have concerns, call us. We can send you another one. Don't worry, only the first one we get back is the only one that counts. So you don't have to worry about people double counting. Our system is very sophisticated that way. The other thing I want you to be looking in the mail for, some people should even receive them today. If you have a voter card, or everybody's going to get a new voter card. It will tell you if you have a change of polling location. As you may have read, we have had a number, 16 different locations who have indicated to us that they do not want us to come back because of COVID. So we have 8 new locations that we've never used before. Others we've spread voters out. So your new card will say right on the front if it's reflecting a new location. They look different, so it's a little more modern, and it comes with a lot of information about voting on election day or early voting with COVID. So wanting to also make sure, we'll just touch briefly on that. When you go, of course, we're under the Palm Beach County order for masks. So please bring a mask, but if you do not have one or if you forgot one, we will provide you one. Also, if you're uncomfortable, we will provide you with gloves if you, as a voter. Our poll workers, you should know, first of all, please take the time to thank a poll worker. They're being very courageous in being there. But all of our poll workers have their temperatures taken in the morning before we open. They fill out the COVID questionnaire. They have facial masks and shields. They don't have to wear both, but we have that for their protection. Also, you're going to see there's a plexiglass shield between you and the poll worker, so giving you both protection. And then we have, of course, hand sanitizers, hand wipes. We are wiping down between each voter, all of the polling locations. For early voting, because we have more people there, we actually doubled up the size of the privacy booths, again, just to give people more comfort with the breathing around them. And your pens that you'll use are single-use pens. They just say, I voted, it's all it says. And you can take that with you, so you don't have to worry that you're using a pen that somebody else has touched. So we're trying, we've done everything the CDC has recommended and then more. So we're hopeful that those who choose to vote in person are going to feel really comfortable doing that. Our goal is, I know in March, the health director for the county had said that she thought that the voting locations were some of the cleanest places in Palm Beach County. It's our goal for her to continue to say that all through early voting and on election day as well. So again, for those who choose to early vote, to be early voting or election day in person, we want to make that safe for you. But also want to remind you that vote by mail is available, postage prepaid, and you can still make that request up until 5 o'clock on election day. So if there's any questions I can answer, I'm happy to do that. Lori?
Thank you so much. You have touched on many, many things. I don't think you've missed a thing. I was going to ask about the new safety procedures, but you've gone through them thoroughly. It looks like you're really on top of everything, doing a great job. And yes, we do have, our alliance has many, many poll workers in that, we're very, very active in the community, the seniors.
Right.
And
well, we appreciate that. And we actually have a little, we're doing a little campaign right now that, because, a lot of people who are upset about having to wear a mask, we're trying to do the honey more than vinegar, right? And so we've got signs up and we put them on our social media that says, show your appreciation or thank your poll worker for being here and courageously serving you by wearing your mask. Let's protect everybody. So we are trying to make sure that everybody recognizes and appreciates what the poll workers who are there to serve the voters, how they're doing that. And that obviously we always tell them how much we appreciate them, but we want the voters to realize that they have these polling locations because these poll workers have made the decision to be there and to do this great civic duty.
Well, thank you so much. And if there's any questions, we'll provide the email address for you and the phone number. If you could put that in the chat.
Absolutely.
There, and we'll provide that to everybody because we don't have any questions right now. You really did a thorough job. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, we can now go on to this next portion, which is our judges. And today we have special judges here. We're to spotlight Judge Jeff Gillen, and he will be speaking on the circuit court system. And we also have actually a guest here, Judge Jaimie Goodman, is also going to just dovetail on what the Judge Gillen finishes saying when he explains all about the circuit court system. And then following Judge Gillen and Judge Goodman, who are both sitting judges, we will have Judge Debra Stevens speak about the county court system. So right now we can start with Judge Gillen.
Thank you, Lori, and thank you to the Alliance for allowing me to come in and talk with you all today. I think this is a great idea because a lot of people don't understand the significance and the difference between the circuit judges and the county judges. Let me sort of identify a little bit of well, let me go back even further. There are, as most people know, 67 counties in Florida. The 67 counties within the judicial system are divided up into 20 different circuits, so that the more litigious or busy circuits are comprised of just one county, like Palm Beach County. Palm Beach County has county judges and Palm Beach County has circuit judges. But the county is the limitation, if you will, the geographic limitation of the county court jurisdiction. So as you might imagine, because there are 20 circuits in the state of Florida, some of the circuits are comprised of more than one county. For example, the 3rd Judicial Circuit up in the Panhandle is comprised of 7, count them, 7 different counties. It's a huge, geographically speaking, a huge circuit. However, there aren't as many people up there. So for obvious reasons, that's the manner in which the circuits are designated, if you will. So what is it that circuit courts do? A circuit court obtains its jurisdiction through, among other things, the Florida Constitution. Article 5, Section 5, I think it is, of the Florida Constitution defines the jurisdiction of the circuit court. And it's basically, in general, very general terms, basically anything that statutorily doesn't belong to county courts. To put it in sort of more generic terms, disputes involving certain things that are involve less money, so to speak, are typically handled in the county courts. The jurisdiction was recently increased for county courts up to $30,000. $30,000, I can't remember now if it's $30,000 and above or above $30,000 in dispute goes to circuit courts. We have 5 divisions of the circuit court in the 15th Judicial Circuit. That is to say in Palm Beach County. They are the Circuit Civil Division, the Circuit Criminal Division, which handles just felonies and some underlying misdemeanors as well, but primarily just felonies. The Probate and Guardianship Division, which as the term implies, handles disputes and even non-disputed estate matters and guardianship issues. Folks who, for whatever reason, require the protection of the court system, or friends and relatives in a legal fashion. Then we also have the Juvenile Division, which handles both delinquency and dependency. Dependency has to do with children who are alleged to have been neglected, abandoned, or abused by their parents or guardians, legal guardians. And I think I covered it all. I think I covered all 5. I apologize if I missed one. I've presided over 4 different divisions in the circuit court. It's probably important to note that circuit judges, unlike county court judges, deal primarily with lawyers, as opposed to folks who come in representing themselves. So it's kind of a different scenario. The county court is often referred to as the people's court, because the vast majority of folks who appear in county court are representing themselves. And that makes county judging a little more difficult, in my humble opinion, sometimes than presiding as a judge in the circuit courts, because for the most part, when we as judges preside in the circuit courts, the litigants are represented by lawyers, and lawyers, typically speaking, are well organized, and they understand what the issues are, what important issues are, and what are non-issues, and what the restrictions are in terms of what the court can do for their respective clients. The circuit courts are also appellate courts in certain circumstances, for decisions that come out of the county courts. So at the same time, the circuit court is both the highest level trial court in the Florida judicial system and the lowest level appellate court in the Florida judicial system. Then, as you can imagine, To the extent that a circuit court decision reviews a county court, it too can be reviewed by the District Court of Appeal. I don't know how much further I should go up the chain, but there are 5 district courts of appeal in the state of Florida, and of course, 1 Florida Supreme Court. The circuit courts also have what's known as original jurisdiction for certain types of petitions or proceedings that don't have to do with necessarily with trials, as do the district courts of appeal. That's something that the county courts don't have for the most part. I'd be happy to entertain any questions that anybody may have with respect to the jurisdiction and the functioning of the circuit courts here in Florida, particularly in Palm Beach County. If anybody would like to ask me any questions.
Well, we don't have a question here, but I do actually have a question. Where do you hold your court? You still hold it in the county courthouse, don't you? Where is it? Where
Yes.
do you usually hold your court?
All right, well, that's a great question. And I was formerly in a division in South County. I think maybe Judge Goodman was down there as well. That division in South County was a family probate guardianship domestic violence division. I don't know where that little creature was coming behind me, but it's weird. But in any event, yes, the long and short of it is all of our courthouses remain open. And sort of alluding back to what Sheriff Bradshaw said, thanks in large measure to the cooperation between the Sheriff's Office and the judiciary, specifically our Chief Judge, Judge Krista Marks, we've been able to keep the courthouses and the county generally, we've been able to keep the courthouses open. Sadly, because of the virus, we are unable, the Supreme Court has determined that it would be improper and unsafe for us to conduct any jury trials, and that unfortunately is going to remain the case for some time, for the foreseeable future. I don't have a clue how long that's going to be. We'll have to see. I am located in the main branch. That's on between Dixie and Quadrille Avenues. That's, as you know, an 11-story building. We have all 5 divisions there. I am currently in the felony criminal division, but we have the other 4 divisions in that building as well. We conduct every day. I didn't today because I can't engage in this kind of activity from the courthouse, but we conduct every day in my criminal division hearings via Zoom and in person. The in-person hearings, of course, require me and the deputies to keep the number of personnel down in the courtroom to 20 or below. We've been very, very successful in continuing to move cases along by utilizing Zoom and other technological advances in order to move cases along. In point of fact, it's kind of funny because even though we've been unable to conduct any trials, when I took over my criminal division, the one I'm in now, have been for a little over a year, I had the 7th, well, there were 7 divisions within the felony criminal division, and I had the highest caseload, and now I'm down to the 3rd highest caseload. So I'm continuing to move cases along. And that's a testament, really, not so much to me as it is the ability to use the systems, the ability to use Zoom and the ability to work with people.
Thank you so much. That's a great explanation. Thank you for your work over the years. How many years have you been a judge?
I'm in my 8th year as a circuit judge, and I've been, I said, 4 different divisions. Now, for the last little over a year, been in the felony criminal division.
Thank you for all your work through the years, and thank you for attending today. We'll have now we'll have our other special guest, which is also a circuit court judge, Jaimie Goodman, who will just sort of maybe give us a few more facts that you know, and something maybe about how you're handling the COVID in your courtroom. Everybody's concerned about that.
Good morning. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes.
All right. I'm Judge Jaimie Goodman, and I've been a circuit court judge now for 5.5 years. I presently serve in the Circuit Civil Division, Also served in family, probate, and guardianship division. Let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in circuit civil. First, our jurisdiction is any cases that exceed $30,000 in damages. All of the cases that we're handling now due to the pandemic, we are doing remotely via video and Zoom. As a circuit court judge in the civil division, I start my day with a uniform motion calendar, which goes from 8:30 to 9:30, where any attorney who wants to come in and has an issue as it relates to their cases can come in and have a hearing with me, as long as that hearing does not exceed 10 minutes. And I do that from 8:30 to 9:30, every Tuesday through Thursday. And we do all that now via Zoom. And it's worked very, very efficiently. In fact, one of the things that we've learned from all this is many of our hearings, uniform motion calendar hearings, can be held using technology, as opposed to requiring the lawyers to come drive in for an hour, drive back for an hour, and wait in the courtroom for 40 minutes to be heard. So this technology has really taught us a lot as judges. It's really been very, very efficient. Now, before COVID, what would happen at 9:30 is I would start my jury trials. When I took over the circuit civil division that I'm in, I had over 1,600 cases. I'm now down to 1,374. But because of COVID, obviously we can't have jury trials, as Judge Gillen has explained. So what all of us are doing in the circuit civil division, there are 11 circuit court judges in the circuit civil division. We're holding special set hearings. Well, what's that? The special set hearing is a hearing that is more complicated. It takes anywhere from a half hour to an hour, where the attorneys need to present legal arguments to you, whether it has to do with discovery issues, whether it has to do with a motion for summary judgment, where one side is trying to convince the judge to dismiss the other side's case without a jury trial. Now, the one thing I didn't mention is bench trials. There are a number of cases that we have that are tried before the judge. It's called a bench trial. Fortunately, we are able to conduct bench trials under certain circumstances via Zoom. That involves the cooperation of the attorneys to make sure that all the exhibits get to the judge in advance. And we make sure that the witnesses who are going to be testifying can appear via Zoom. Since this pandemic has started, I've had 3 bench trials already and a number of evidentiary trials where I've taken testimony via Zoom. And pleasantly, I've found that it's worked very efficiently, because the job of a judge in a bench trial is to evaluate the credibility of a witness, because we're the fact finders. And just to close, the kind of cases that I hear in the circuit civil involve medical malpractice cases, product liability cases, auto negligence cases, premises liability cases, which is a fancy name for slip and fall, condominium disputes, employment litigation, the whole panoply of civil cases where the damages exceed $30,000. So again, I really want to thank you for allowing me to appear here today. It's great to be before you again. I've attended many of the meetings in the past, and I miss seeing you all. And again, I want to give a shout out to our firefighters and our law enforcement personnel for all the great work that they're doing during very, very challenging times. And I'll be happy to address any questions if you have them.
Thank you so much. This is so interesting to see how, we're Zooming here right now and we see everybody's face. And I could see that for judges doing this with Zoom virtually, I think it could work out. If you see the person's face, see their expression, I think that's a large part of it. You don't necessarily have to have the body physically there, you know, a few feet away from you. And you could see, right, like the way we're doing it here today, we're getting to hear everybody. This is really, really wonderful. Well, we don't have any questions for the judges so far, or the property appraiser or the supervisor of elections, because everybody did such a terrific job. So we have Judge Stevens here. I'm going to, oh, let's see, ask to start video. Let's see, because her video, there you go. And you are spotlighted now, Judge. Thank you very much. We have Judge Debra Moses Stevens, and she will talk about the county court system.
Good morning, Alliance of Delray. Thank you for having me today. I'm going to start by telling you very quickly the jurisdiction of the county court is in county civil, any dispute less than $30,000, so $30,000 and lower. In small claims, it's any dispute that is $8,000 or lower. I want to emphasize to anyone who ends up in county court, it is very much the people's court. Many people show up there who are unrepresented by counsel. So I think that it is important that the judge be able to explain the process, make sure that people understand what they need to know, what they don't need to know. Oftentimes we're asked, do I need a lawyer? Well, that is a personal decision. I know that when I was assigned to the civil division, one of the things that I did was I went over the books that you needed to look up and the books that you needed, the sections in the books that you needed to go over, so that you understand what evidence is, so that you understand what the statute is, so you understand where to find the rules of court. So I think that all of the county court judges are interested in making sure that when you come to court for the first time, you really do understand what is going on, what the process is, and how to proceed. I've been a judge for 20 years, so I've been assigned to both the criminal, civil, and domestic violence divisions. And just a little more about the civil division, because you're more likely to find people who are who don't have a lawyer to represent them. There are actually videotapes of the small claims cases and county civil cases, so that you can prepare yourself prior to coming into the court system. The clerk's office and the self-help center has those videotapes. The self-help center has a great deal of information. It's run by the clerk's office. They have a great deal of information on how to proceed and how you can handle your own case. The libraries in your area also have, on occasion, someone who does a presentation on small claims. So if you check with your local library, they can also, there's a lawyer who come in, speak about small claims, speak about county civil, and they will answer your questions to give you an opportunity to learn enough about the case so that you can hopefully represent yourself. Now, I'm going to tell you right up front, judges give you all of this information so that you can help yourself. But a judge is not allowed, the Supreme Court has decided, not allowed to compensate for a person who represents themselves when they come against a judge. So it's really important that you educate yourself before entering the courtroom. Also, county court has jurisdiction over traffic infractions. There are two ways that we handle the traffic infraction, which is sort of a hybrid between the civil and the criminal court, and that's why I went to it next. For many people, that's your first time into the courtroom with the traffic infraction. The traffic infraction is handled on one hand by judges when it is required for a judge to handle it. So for example, if you're speeding and you're going more than 30 miles per hour over the speed limit, you're coming in front of a judge. If your accident involves a severe injury, or I'm sorry, if there is an accident on your case, you get an infraction for careless driving or reckless driving, and there's an accident, you're coming in front of a judge. If there's a death involved in a traffic infraction case, then you come before a judge. So those are the times when you'll come in front of a judge. You can also just say, I want a judge. I don't want a traffic hearing officer, and you'll get a judge. The other traffic infractions are handled by the traffic hearing officer program. We have lawyers who've been interviewed and trained, and they come in and they act in a quasi-judicial manner to hear those traffic infractions and make the decisions. I was administrative judge for that program for the last 13 years. And I happen to know we have excellent traffic hearing officers, and they are there to listen and try to help to either, if you wish to work your case out, or if you need to go to a hearing, they hear those cases and render a decision. So this is the jurisdiction of the County Civil Division, the Traffic Hearing Officer Program. There are also a number of us who are assigned to the Criminal Division. These are misdemeanor cases. Misdemeanor cases have a maximum penalty of 1 year in the Palm Beach County Jail. So anything that has a penalty of 1 year or less, that's the County Criminal Division. My particular division is the Domestic Violence Division, even though I've served in all of the other divisions. In the Domestic Violence Division, it's one of 3 specialty courts. The other 2 are handled by the Circuit Court. The other 2 are Veterans Court and Drug Court. My court, Domestic Violence Court, is chosen to be a specialty court because there are special programs involved in that court. There are ways that we can handle the issues that come before the court that either can help a family get back together through counseling and through the investigations and work from the Department of Children and Families, or if it's going to be a permanent split, then we have special programs that deal with how to keep people separated and apart from each other. Before my court, I get I get batteries, assaults, violations of pretrial conditions, and violations of injunctions. Also, because some of those cases involve domestic violence injunctions, I also handle some of the domestic violence injunctions that are associated with the criminal cases. Normally that would go before a circuit court judge. It's a family court case, but they decided that it was better to make sure that all of these things were handled in one court. So I do a little bit of double duty, but it's not a problem. Judge Gillen said before, it's mainly the people's court down in county court, and it is. There are so many things about the court that require you to understand different religions, cultures, to get out there and speak to people and talk to people so that you understand what different experiences people have. This is important because if you cannot relate to someone, it's very difficult to explain so they understand. It's very difficult to calm a person down or to make sure that a person understands what their options are. So I take the time to educate myself. I know other judges do. The county court judges conference educates us, the Advanced Judicial College, the National Center for State Courts. We take our information wherever we can find it. And right now with the coronavirus, I think it was announced on the 13th that we would have to cut back court operations. By the 17th, we had our WebEx and our Zoom, and we were able to start operations all over again. I maintain a courtroom with a hybrid of essential and non-essential hearings. On the non-essential hearings, no one's required to come in. I've had at least 12 non-jury trials already. And I'm going to tell you, one of the best things about operating on Zoom is that I can have an attorney appear from Miami, or I have actually had a witness appear from Haiti. So it has been quite an experience, but we're moving along and we're doing our best to maintain the court systems for your benefit.
Wow. Thank you so much, Judge Stevens. We have 3 sitting judges here today who are so erudite, so absolutely educated and well seasoned, and yet also so personable. And you can actually explain things to us that we can understand. Can you tell us, Judge Stevens, how long you've been? I see 13 years you were in one thing. How long have you been sitting as a county judge?
I've been sitting as a county judge for 20 years, and I have been in Palm Beach County for 33 years, and I have enjoyed every moment of it. I've even been able to donate some of my Saturdays to the Riviera Beach Drug Court. I work as their administrative judge. I love my county, and I give back to it as much as possible. I'm so excited about what I've seen on your website about what the Alliance is doing. I noticed there was a mature driver's course. I was really happy to see all of those things. It really does help when we can do something to improve our community. So I'm really happy to see all of that.
Great. Well, we actually have a question, and it's from Terry Mitzi, one of the aides of elected officials. She wants to know if mediations are being conducted via Zoom. Can each one of our, I'll let each judge just finish up speaking. Judge Stevens, just tell us what you do with mediations.
I know that most of our mediations are done by Zoom now, and I know that that has made it much easier for us to get a lot of information in when we need it, because we have more access to people. And because Zoom allows us to see faces, as you said before, makes all the difference in the world. So yes, we are using Zoom for mediation.
Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to just spotlight Judge Gillen, who's back here. And what about mediations at the circuit court level?
Yes, they're being, mediations being, or Zoom rather, is being utilized for mediation purposes as well. Of course, in the felony division, we don't do any formal mediations because we're talking mediations for civil and family matters, not criminal matters. But yes, it is. Judge Goodman may have more to say about that than I, because I'm not in civil anymore.
Yeah, well, how about if we have Judge Goodman finish up here and tell us something about the mediations?
Yeah, the mediations are proceeding very, very smoothly, and they are being conducted via Zoom. In fact, that's something that, you know, I'm insisting upon when attorneys come before me and they request to go to mediation, because again, the safety of everybody is paramount. And the Zoom mediations have worked really well in terms of them being handled without any issues. And it's actually very helpful when you have out-of-state parties who need to be present, because right now traveling is problematic. So Zoom has helped there. And the efficiency rate has worked very well. A lot of these cases have resolved via mediation.
That's great. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody here today. We learned so much about the system. We, the circuit court system, the county court system, and it's really, it was just a wonderful, interesting time. And just one thing about, you're saying that there's Zoom. Are you using the Zoom software?
Oh, yes.
Right, yeah, because you know, some of our
Yes.
meetings with the county have been by WebEx. Some of and other people use some Microsoft programs and different programs. So this isn't a commercial for Zoom, but I'll tell you, this Zoom, you could see today how easy it is for, we're all not, other than my terrific co-host who's very technologically efficient, Paul Finkelstein, thank you so much. He knows an awful lot about it, but it makes it very easy for all of us to use it. And we've been using the chat. People can ask questions. It really is wonderful. So,
although I have, Lori, although I have all three of those systems on my personal laptop, I can tell you that throughout the state of Florida, at least for the Florida State Court system, we're utilizing Zoom.
oh, great. Well, thank you so much for that information. This is very interesting. It really is, it's almost flawless, except when you get a power outage and your web, the internet goes down. Other than that, it works out real well. Well, thank you so much, everybody for coming today. And please, to our membership, thank you so much for all your responses to the McDonald's issue that we have, the issue with the traffic, and with the issues that we have inside of the mall at the Villages of Oriole. We're going to let the commissioners know all that tomorrow. Definitely, I'll be appearing in person, keeping the social distancing. Remember the 3 C's that we need to do. Of course, we need to, wear our masks, keep separated, keep out of crowded rooms, and the rooms, they do separate people inside of the Vista Center or the county commissioners' chambers. They all take all the sorts of precautions that they possibly can. They do a wonderful job, the county, in letting us be heard and also maintaining the social distancing and all the other things that we need. So we will give an update via email to all of our membership regarding this meeting tomorrow. And we are going to have another Zoomcast the first Wednesday of September, which actually starts our Alliance fiscal year. And we'll start with some speakers there, including our tax collector, Ann Gannon. Until then, look for the newsletter in the mail and by email. And this particular recording of this video is going to be on YouTube. It will be sent to everybody and you'll be able to review it. And we had some excellent information. And a shout out to Mike and Katie Adler, who are such great leaders and who always give us nice comments in our chat. Okay, we're going to end this meeting. Thank you to everybody. And from Judge Stevens, she said, thanks for the opportunity. Thank you, Judge Stevens. It really is, everybody wants everybody to stay safe. Thank you all.
Thank you, Lori.
Okay.
Thank you.
Take care.
So long. Great to see you all.